I wanted to ask you something, which even I got carried away with the trend, that an IQ develops only up to certain age. So we have to stimulate a child's brain early on, because otherwise you're losing out, missing the bus of making your child more intelligent. Can you throw some light on this, ma'am?
Intelligence is probably one of the most misunderstood concept. Now, this word IQ is just a formula. It's mental age by chronological age into 100. It developed from what is called the eugenics movement, where they wanted to, take only intelligent people and allow them to populate the earth, and which is very wrong also, because we must have diversity and it's very important. Having said that, intelligence is something that is a major, intelligence is majorly from your genetic pool, right? So a major part of it is what you will inherit, and then stimulation wise you can have experiences, multisensory experiences, experiences to explore the world, which
Now I know whom to blame. I don't know something. It's not my learning for sure.
No, actually, I mean, it's easy to blame genetics on everything, but I'll also give you a lot of examples of how we misunderstand intelligence. I remember once, about 25 years back, when I was just, starting out in psychology and everything, a lady had published several articles about her child being a genius. And this word genius was the catchword at that point. The lady herself was a professor in a college computer science department, and she had exposed her child to using the desktop when she was just
Something like a child prodigy.
she claimed it was a child prodigy. Now the thing is, the child was able to use just about every software on the computer and all of that, and it was just exposure driven. When we actually tested her intelligence later, this was not a particularly intelligent child, but because of the exposure, she was doing very well. So a lot of things are misunderstood. So I'd like to set the record straight here.
So doesn't this exposure make them specialized in that?
It can become a splinter. It need not necessarily boost your intelligence. Right? Now, intelligence has many components. Different people define it differently. And it's not measured only by IQ. Right? And there are many intelligences now. You can take the theory of multiple intelligence, and you can also take a lot of other things which bring in emotionality also as a major part. So let's try and not go through scores, tests, etc., but to understand what is it really that's important for the child. Number one, there has to be a major adaptability. You can be extremely intelligent but not adaptable. It's going to become very difficult for you. Secondly, you must be able to do problem solving. Now, for example, to be able to identify what is wrong, to see what can be changed, to be able to identify what not to repeat and what needs to be retained. Then you have a lot of other areas where higher order thinking comes in, reasoning comes in. So there are many qualities. Now, each one defines it differently, and therefore I would ask young parents to please understand that stimulation does not mean putting your child in activities, rigid forms of classes and things like that.
And also repetition of
Yes,
same thing.
or even, ma'am, these naming flags, naming countries, not recall. Intelligence is something that you can apply in a real life situation, when you don't have a question paper, when you don't have a test. Because in real life, if you see it, the test comes first and then the lesson. You get the chance to learn afterwards. But in the simulated exam culture, we get a portion, we get a curriculum, we get syllabus, and then we are asked to learn. So having said this, intelligence is not something that you can stimulate through one set of activities. At most, what you can do is expose the child to something more. Because of that exposure, they seem to be on the surface very intelligent. True intelligence is actually quite silent. They say confidence is always silent. It's only insecurities that are loud. So as parents, I would ask most young people not to get carried away by trends, because they are not in the best interest of the child.
And they're not scientifically researched as well. The trends which sometimes come as the pop culture, the Instagram reel, which is trending.
They are the ones that will trend also. If you really look at it, only pop psychology makes it on social media. Real psychology, nobody is interested in. Everything is being labeled trauma right now. Everything is being labeled as intergenerational. It's not so. So I would ask you to look at intelligence as something that evolves right through life. it does not stop. If you have the right kind of mental hygiene, you will be able to develop your intelligence all your life. And it's not in only one area, it can be spread over many, many areas. So if I were to give a small prescriptive to parents, one, observe your child. Because every child is inherently intelligent and they will express it when they have the right experiences and a safe ecosystem at home, when they're not being pushed to compete. Secondly, understand that not every child will be able to learn every day and they will not be able to showcase their skills every day. Many of them may be extremely silent for 14, 15 years and then blossom into the best version of themselves. They don't need to be always showcasing skills. And showcasing skills does not mean that they're more intelligent. They're just able to have better exposure or better activities. Third and more important, please do not compare your child with anybody. Do not compare yourself as a parent with anybody else. Because when we end up comparing, we're only going to find flaws. Because as human beings, we always focus on the negativity bias. We don't look at the positives of many things. And the fourth and the most important aspect of the whole experience is to understand that what your child has is extremely unique to them. They don't need to be like anybody else.